Hello everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you guys a video that I got the specific idea for from Lacey Book Lovers. I will link her channel up in the cards above or down in the description. I can't quite remember what I usually do. But she recently posted a video where she gave recommendations for hate to love romances that remind her of Kate and Anthony from the Viscount Who Loved Me, which is book 2 in the Bridgerton series. If you don't know, season 2 of the Netflix series Bridgerton is coming out soon. Actually, I'm posting this on Saturday, so it came out yesterday from when I'm posting this video. And so this is the book that season 2 is going to be based on. So our two main characters are Anthony, who is the Viscount of the Bridgerton family, and then Kate, his love interest. And so if you don't know anything about this series or about this book, this is a hate to love situation about Anthony, like I said, and so he has come to the point where he's realized he needs to get married and have an heir to keep the viscountcy going. And so he sets his eyes on Edwina, who is Kate's younger sister. She's just 17. She has just come out into society. And Edwina has been kind of named as the season's incomparable. She is like the woman that everybody wants to have. And so Anthony decides that he needs to have her because she's like the best, right? Kate is her older sister, and she knows Anthony's reputation. He is a rake with a capital R. And so she is determined to keep Edwina out of Anthony's clutches. So yeah, at first these two definitely do not like each other, and things go on from there. But I recently reread this book. I read the entire Bridgerton series, well, books 2 through 8, last year, April of last year, I believe. I actually did a reading vlog where I documented that experience, so I will link that video up in the cards above. I actually rewatched that video recently, and that was just like so fun. I remember when I read this the first time, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't like absolutely love it because I remember just feeling like the second half kind of dragged, like it just like wasn't my favorite. I'm so glad that I decided to reread this book in anticipation of the new season coming out, because I had like a completely different reading experience. I absolutely loved this book, gave it 5 stars. Kate and Anthony have always been my favorite Bridgerton couple, but like this time around I love them even more. So I loved this reread so much that I decided to do a video where I would recommend historical romances that I think have similar vibes to Kate and Anthony's story. So basically I'm gonna recommend these books to you, and I think I'm just gonna give you guys like quick bullet points as to why I think they deserve to be on this list. Obviously I'm a big fan of all 11 of these books, and yeah, I'm just excited to talk about them. So the first one, that's Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. This is like a classic historical romance. This is also, I think, Loretta Chase's most well-known book. It is like the book that I feel like every romance booktuber who's into historical romance has read, and for very good reason. It's a very well-written book. I personally gave it like, I think 4.5 stars the first time I read it. I need to reread it though because it's been a few years, but this one's about Sebastian and Jessica. Jessica, by the way, is like such a badass heroine, and Kate from the Viscount Who Loved Me is also pretty badass and strong, and we love those types of heroines. And so yeah, Sebastian's also a rake. This, just like the Viscount Who Loved Me, is also a marriage of convenience, hate to love story with fantastic banter. We love great banter in historical romances, and this book definitely serves that as well. And yeah, the writing is just fantastic. So if you somehow haven't read this yet, I highly recommend that you do. Next one I would recommend would be 10 Things I Hate About the Duke by Loretta Chase as well. Wait, I didn't make that connection till just now, but this is actually her most recent release. This is also a Taming of the Shrew retelling, and something about the Viscount Who Loved Me that I feel like tends to go under the radar, at least like in my mind, is that this is also like, it has a Taming of the Shrew vibe to it, because we've got Kate being the older sister and she's trying to protect Edwina, her younger sister, from Anthony, you know. And so I put this book on the list because it is a Taming of the Shrew retelling. And so we have Cassandra, who she has a younger sister who wants to get married, but their father comes up with the rule that the younger sister can't get married until Cassandra does. And then we do have this hate to love dynamic. It's pretty one-sided on Cassandra's part, between Cassandra and Lucian, the hero. And also Lucian is like a sunshiny hero, and it's such a great book. I mean, Loretta Chase clearly knows how to write historical romances. These are actually the only 2 books that I read by her, so I definitely need to read more. Also, there is some great banter in this. There's also really fun scenes. I remember there being like a sword fight between the two of them, except that they end up using umbrellas for some reason. Like there's a lot going on. Just a really great time. Obviously, I highly recommend it. Next up, we have The Viscount and the Vixen by Lorraine Heath. And so for one thing, this book is also about a Viscount, just like The Viscount Who Loved Me. This is also a hate to love situation and a marriage of convenience situation. And this one's entertaining at the beginning because we have our hero Locke, who is, like I said, a Viscount, and his father, who is a Marquis, and obviously he's a much older man, and he's kind of deemed to have gone like mad after his wife passed away. And so it's really fun because even though everybody thinks he's crazy, he comes up with this scheme to invite Portia, our heroine, to their house under the guise of like the Marquis marrying her. But the entire time he's planned it to where Locke, his son, will be the one to marry Portia. And so Portia and Locke do not start off on the best of terms because Locke just assumes that Portia's a gold digger because she's much younger than his father. We also have our hero Locke. He refuses to love because of his parents, and that's kind of what Anthony deals with. This one's also a bit more serious and a bit more dark in tone, but that's Lorraine Heath. That is definitely her writing style. But yeah, there are some similar vibes to the Bridgerton series for sure. Next up, I gotta get my physical copies out here. I have two books by Sarah MacLean that give me strong vibes of Kate and Anthony for two different reasons. So these are both books in her Love by Numbers series, which is actually the very first series that she published with Avon. And so the first one is 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake. And so the reason why this one in particular reminds me of Kate and Anthony is not because it's a hate to love, because it's not. This one's much more of like a friends to lovers dynamic, but we have Calpurnia, our heroine, who is known to be a spinster, and her younger sister is going to get married soon. I think she's already engaged. And so Calpurnia is kind of dealing with feelings of feeling inadequate because she's much older and she hasn't gotten married yet. And that's also what Kate kind of deals with. Kate always felt like she was like the ugly sister compared to Edwina. And then we have a rake hero, of course. This is Gabriel St. John, who's the Marquis of Ralston. This one isn't quite as similar as some of the other books that I'm going to recommend, but there's just like vibes there that make me think of Kate and Anthony. But the third book in the series, 11 Scandals to Start to Win a Duke's Heart, however, is a hate to love story, and it definitely gives me more vibes of Kate and Anthony because of that. And this one is about Juliana, who is the half-sister of Gabriel, the hero from book 1. And then we have Simon, who is just this starchy, judgmental duke. And their hate to love dynamic is so entertaining. Like, I am just obsessed with stories like this where the hero and heroine are just so different from each other, because Juliana is like bold and brash and just like unapologetically herself, and she's trying to learn the ways of the English aristocracy. And Simon is just, like I said, he's uptight. He judges Juliana so much from like the first moment that they meet. So next I have a couple of books by Lisa Kleypas. The first one is It Happened One Autumn, which is book 2 in her Wallflower series. And if you've read this book and you've read The Viscount Who Loved Me, like, come on, Lillian and Marcus totally have Kate and Anthony vibes. There is this hate to love dynamic. Lillian is actually an American heiress and Marcus is an English earl. So there's that difference between the two of them. And Lillian also has a younger sister that she's very close to. And just, yeah, this hate to love dynamic, there's just like so much banter and wit. I adore Marcus and Lillian with my whole heart. Like, they are definitely one of my top favorite Lisa Kleypas couples. And just like The Viscount Who Loved Me, this one also has like a more serious tone in the second half and a more like fun and lighthearted tone in the first half. So yeah, this one's just fantastic. I need to reread this one soon because, like I said, I just love this couple so much. And the other Lisa Kleypas novel that I would highly recommend, this is truly one of my favorite hate to love romances that I have ever read. That is Then Came You. Now, this is technically book 1 in a little duology or duet, but I mean, you can definitely just read this as a standalone. I actually loved this way more than Dreaming of You, which is the second book in this duet, which I know is blasphemous to say because I feel like everybody loves Dreaming of You, but anyway. So this one, we have Lily and Alex, who I believe is an earl. Yes, he's an earl. And so this is similar to the Viscount Who Loved Me because Alex is actually engaged to Lily's younger sister. I believe her name is Penelope, but Penelope doesn't want to marry Alex because she's in love with somebody else. And so Lily agrees to put a stop to this union by any means necessary. And so because she just keeps getting in the way of Alex and Penelope, Alex hates her guts and vice versa. And I will say, this is a hate to love story that I feel like is unlike really any hate to love story I've ever read. There's something about the dynamic between these two characters that I feel like is very unique. And I also think that there is more animosity between these two characters than like Kate and Anthony. So this one I would recommend if you want a hate to love like the Viscount Who Loved Me, but you want even more like messy angst. Like this is what this book will serve you. One of my top favorite historical romances of all time. I think this is like my second favorite Lisa Kleypas book that I've ever read. Like it's just, it is absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Next one I would recommend is The Beast of Beswick by Amelie Howard. This one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and this one I'm recommending for this list because it is a hate to love marriage of convenience between Nathaniel, who is a duke, and Lady Astrid. And so in this book we have another one of those plots where Astrid is saving her younger sister from marrying the duke by marrying the duke herself. And so yeah, I really don't have much more to say about this one. I've talked about this one in another recent recommendation video. It's just a really great historical romance. Next up, I would recommend, okay, After Midnight by Teresa Medeiros. So this one's actually a paranormal historical romance, but hear me out here, because on the one hand, it's quite different from the Bridgerton series and from Kate and Anthony, but on the other hand, there are some similar vibes that I get from this couple. So we have Adrian, who is also a Viscount, but he's a Viscount that is rumored to be a vampire. And so he's like very dark, very broody. And so we have Caroline, our heroine, and she has, I believe, 2 younger sisters that she's very, very protective of. They are very close. I don't think that their parents are in the picture, so like she is their matriarch, like she is it. And I just like love this like undeniable chemistry between Adrian and Caroline. Again, like the Viscount Who Loved Me, Kate and Anthony have that undeniable like sexual tension and chemistry. Like we love to see that in romances. So I thought this would be the perfect video to recommend another Julia Quinn book, and that's going to be The Sum of All Kisses. This is book 3 in her Smythe Smith quartet, which is actually the spin-off series to the Bridgerton series. But this one's also a hate to love, and it gave me vibes of Kate and Anthony, not only because it's by Julia Quinn, so you get that same like charming and witty feel. And of course you've got the banter and all of that, but it's kind of like a one-sided hate to love because our heroine Sarah like hates Hugh, our hero's guts, because of something that happened in the past. And so, like I said, that's kind of what goes on between Kate and Anthony, is that like Kate definitely hates Anthony more than he hates her. And so that's what's going on here as well. Like Hugh does not hate Sarah, but Sarah like loathes him. And then last but not least, I thought it would be fun to throw in A Reckless Match by Kate Bateman. So this is like an enemies to lovers, but like enemies in quotes, because we have Griff and Maddie. They are a part of the Davies and Montgomery families. Let's see, Maddie is the Montgomery and Griff is the Davies. These are families that have been feuding for like hundreds of years. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, both of these books involve a duel in some way. And so that's also how they remind me of Anthony, because Anthony has a duel with Simon in The Duke and I. But back to this one. Yeah, basically like Griff is like hiding out at his family's country estate because of a duel that he was involved in. And then we have Maddie, And so like every year, I believe on like the winter solstice, a member from each family has to meet at a specific time and place, or else like a certain plot of land will go to the family, like the member that did show up. And so they always make sure to send a member of the family out so that this plot of land stays neutral, I guess you could say. And so this one's just so fun because it's like this enemies to lovers vibe, but they don't really hate each other. It's really like the family feud that has gotten in the way. Amazing, amazing banter between Griff and Maddie. Kate Bateman is the queen of banter, like ultimate queen. Love her writing, love her wit, love her charm so much. I definitely recommend this one because I think that Kate Bateman is a pretty underrated historical romance author, so I definitely recommend that you check her out. So that is going to be it for recommendations for historical romances that you should read if you love Kate and Anthony from the Viscount Who Loved Me as much as I do. I really hope that you guys got some really good recommendations from this video. Definitely leave a comment down below if you have more recommendations for historical romances that give you similar vibes to Kate and Anthony. I would also love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you so much in advance if you do, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!